Hello, my name is Anna Luke. I am a history major in Texas A&M, and I will be defending the Hypera postica.
Howdy, my name is Christopher Martinez. I am a biomedical science major with a minor in public health and entomology from Lafayette, Texas. And today I will be defending the species Diuraphis noxia, which is also known as the Russian reed aphid. Our topic for today is whether or not the Hypera postica or the Diuraphis noxia causes the greatest infestation or losses in our society.
It is my belief that the Hypera postica, also known as the alfalfa weevil, creates more loss and damage than the Diuraphis noxia. I believe this is the case because there was something tickling my nose. Okay. I believe this is the case because the alfalfa weevil is foreign to the United States. It comes from Asia, and because of this, it has few natural predators, making it hard for them to die out of natural selection. They are also present in the 48 mainland states, making it more possible for them to reach more crops and yields in plants. The adult female alfalfa weevil will lay between 600 to 800 eggs, and the alfalfa weevil creates more harm as a larva than they do as adults. As larvae, they chew on leaves and feed on it, and they are able to skeletonize the plants. As adults, they feed on the leaves, the stems, and the shoots of plants. Economically, the alfalfa weevil has caused hundreds of millions of dollars in loss to farmers, and it also becomes an economic problem with the management of the infestations.
I believe that the Diuraphis noxia, or the Russian wheat aphid, causes the greatest loss due to infestation compared to the Hypera postica. The Diuraphis noxia can be 1.5 to 3 millimeters in length with a greenish spindle-shaped body. They are aphids that are in the order of true bugs. They live in large colonies and rely heavily on the wind to move from place to place because they are poor flyers. The behavior of the Russian wheat aphid can be sorted into 4 phases. During the first phase, the aphids find a potential plant to feed on. During the second phase, they will begin looking for a feeding spot on the leaf of a plant. And finally, the third and fourth phases are combined, in which they look for the parts of the plant that are more nutritious and feast upon. Then this process is repeated with a different plant. The Russian wheat aphid reproduce asexually. They are all female and each give birth to live daughters in which they are carrying embryonic granddaughters. Due to this phenomenon, the populations of Russian wheat aphids become massive. The Russian wheat aphid was first found in North America in the 1980s. They were since spread across the continent, and they were found in Lubbock, Texas in 1986. Since they were discovered in Texas back in the 1980s, the United States has lost millions of dollars in wheat production, which make them a big issue for agricultural workers across the country. In 1988, the country lost $288 million in loss of crops, along with the amount of pesticides that were purchased to keep them away from wheat and barrel. The damage is done when the aphids suck out the cell content from plants while injecting toxins and transmitting several viral diseases. In turn, plants lose their chlorophyll and show whitish, yellow, or red leaf streaking.
It is mentioned that the Diuraphis noxia are poor flyers, that they rely heavily on wind for mode of transportation. Do you believe that this hinders them from their full potential? I believe that they do. I believe that if they didn't rely on something so unreliable, they could have created much more losses than what they already do.
While their flying may not be the best, it doesn't take many Diuraphis noxia to cause significant damage to crops. Just a handful can cause plants to show heavy signs of infestation. Within a few days of them eating, the plants will begin to wilt and become stunted, preventing them from continuing to grow. When you take that into consideration, along with how fast they asexually reproduce, they become a bigger pest when it is hard for farmers to get rid of them. Not only do the Diuraphis noxia make it hard to control due to their population, but they are also known to hide under the rows of curled up leaves. This protects them from contact insecticides and makes it almost impossible for farmers to keep their products free from these pests. During your opening statement, you had mentioned that the Hypera postica causes the most damage during the larval stage. The larval stage is mainly just the beginning of life for most insects, so why would the Hypera postica cause the greatest infestation or losses in crops if they only seem to be when they only seem to be a nuisance when they are young?
Although the Hypera postica does create more loss as a larva, that doesn't mean that they don't cause harm as adults, and it's not like they have a short lifespan, so they have time to do the damage that they need to do. As larvae, they feed on just the leaves, and as adults, they feed on the leaves, the stems, and the shoots of plants. That makes it more widespread, making it harder for farmers to salvage the plants. And even then, in the larva stage, they manage to skeletonize the plants, so they've already done plenty of damage by then. Now moving on to the rebuttal, I guess? Yeah, okay. Even though the Diuraphis noxia does not take long to reproduce, there are also other natural factors that hinder them from infesting more. One of those being the weather. If the weather drops below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, then the insect will die. This gives farmers a timely advantage to wipe out any other remaining insects, and it also gives them time to prevent further infestation.
While it is true that the Diuraphis noxia die when temperatures drop below zero, they are commonly found in geographical locations that do not, under normal circumstances, reach temperatures below zero. So this should not be an issue for the Diuraphis noxia, as the weather is merely a small factor in their destruction of crops.
All in all, I believe that the Hypera postica creates more loss and damage to plants and yields than the Diuraphis noxia. I believe this is the case because since they are foreign insects, they have few natural predators, making it difficult for them to die out. They are also present in the 48 mainland states, meaning that they are spread out and that they can cause damage and infestations to crops all around the US. The females lay close to 1,000 eggs, and though they do create more harm as larvae, they still do cause damage as adults, and the damage caused by the larva is still great and immense because they manage to skeletonize the plants.
After having this debate with my partner, I still believe that the Diuraphis noxia causes the greatest loss of crops due to infestation. The Diuraphis noxia are fast asexual reproducers, which make their populations constantly double in size. They are hard to get rid of with insecticides due to their habit of hiding under rolled leaves, and they cost the United States millions of dollars annually due to pest controls and crop loss. Getting rid of these aphids is just an endless cycle of using insecticides and hoping you get rid of them all. Thank you.